cheap. It comes in a spigot, man. I throw it in my little beer fridge.
That's all you have to do.
And dude, one of those, you can get 10 bottles, 10 of these 16.9 ounce fluid ounce bottles, because it's got like 170 fluid ounces in it. So 10 of these for $18. And I'll tell you, you drink one of these bottles, just one of these, it takes you, 20 minutes. All your day's problems. You can go ahead and hit record.
Oh, I did.
This episode is brought to you by Hearing Group.
Yeah,
Hearing
guys.
aid solutions
So,
you'll love.
anyways, that was now that we're done talking about what pineapple wine and Franzia.
Yeah, and the non-drinker is the one wearing all the alcoholic attire.
I know, dude. Hey, I had
From beer
He's
to whiskey.
he's a poser.
I had 2 beers yesterday.
What?
Yeah, no shit. Damn, for real, dude. I had a mango cart and I had a Coors Light.
Nice.
Oh, and an old fashioned. So I had 3 drinks yesterday. Look at that.
What was the occasion?
I was just hanging out with my wife in Oklahoma City.
Fancy.
Yeah. Anyways, welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Dirty and Driven podcast. My name is James Devaney. I am your host. This is the show where we bring people to the blue-collar world, teach them how to kick ass. Our mission here is to gain, train, and retain solid, hard-working individuals in the blue-collar construction trades. And we're going to do just that today. We're joined by a special guest. We're going to talk about all sorts of fun, cool stuff. Before we get into that, I want to introduce to you a man, a legendary man, the farm to market man, a man giving me a stone cold, glossy eyed look hardened only by life. I'd like to welcome in the talented Casey D.
How are you?
And we have a special guest giggling in the background, sipping his pineapple wine like he's the Queen of England or something. Probably the least blue-collared person ever. He ain't straight out the trailer. He is straight out of Compton.
Actually.
A man with soft, dainty hands coming at you live today with cornrows. Relo Adams. That was a fine intro. There you go.
What's up, y'all?
Show the people your hair.
Yep.
That's wild, dude. I love that.
Imagine your therapist having cornrows. Like,
Yeah.
Come on.
That's good, man.
Yeah, he's also got a gat on him. You guys know what a gat is?
Actually,
You know what a gat is?
I have a 22.
I call those a deuce.
A deuce deuce. Silly motherfucker pulled out a deuce deuce. Y'all know that song?
Hey, sing the rest of it.
You know that song?
Nope.
Boys in the Hood.
Sing the rest of it.
Little did he know I had a loaded 12 gauge. One sucker dead, LA Times front page. Because the boys in the hood always... All right, I'm too white for that.
Oh, come on.
Oh, man, it's another lovely day here on the Dirty and Driven podcast. Casey, what's the latest in your world?
I didn't come prepared, man.
Damn, you always got something quick and witty. Not
I
today,
do,
huh?
man. I'm off today, though.
Off. You just got off work.
Yeah, and it's been kind of a hectic last 2 or 3 days at work.
Really?
A lot of jumping through hoops, but still 100% efficient.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are they hula hoops?
So what did you do? I heard you were around. I heard you were around a bunch of teeny boppers last night.
Teeny boppers.
Yeah, you went to that teeny bopper concert.
Teeny bopper?
Yeah,
What teeny bopper?
the teeny bopper concert with maybe just some little college kids too.
I'm sure there were some college kids there, yes.
Mr. Luke Bryan concert.
Hell no. No. Zach Bryan, not Luke Bryan. As far as I know, no relation. No?
They're first cousins.
Yeah. Probably. Brothers.
actually.
Hell yeah, brother. No, I couldn't do Luke Bryan. That'd be a tough one. That'd be like you seeing Kenny Chesney.
Or Luke Bryan.
Or Luke Bryan.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. No, I did see Luke Bryan once. I think I told that story already. He was opening for somebody else that I went and saw. It was weird. a little too poppy for me. Not into that.
I told you my initial disdain for him, right?
For Luke Bryan or Zach Bryan?
Luke. I don't have anything against Zach Bryan. I was just being funny.
No. What's your thing against Luke Bryan?
The first time I ever heard of him was, believe it or not, Mr. 45 or whatever, whenever Trump had The Apprentice. Mm-hmm. He had the Celebrity Apprentice. And during that show, obviously, there's a bunch of celebrities vying, to win, the apprenticeship on the show. Well, what they would do is when they had these teams, these two teams would split up. They would do like marketing for a certain item that they were going to pitch. Mm-hmm. And they came in and said, all right, we got this new country artist. His name is Luke Bryan. He's got a few songs out, but we want you to put together like an album and, pitch this deal, do a short whatever. Okay, so we're going to bring in Luke Bryan now. And he walked in, hey, y'all, hey. And so they started doing their pitching. They listened to what he wanted.
Yeah.
So they came up with a bunch of ideas. And whenever they pitched the ideas back to him, just his smugness and the way that he came off just from, the initial first time you saw him, it was like, this guy's a fucking jackass, man.
Yeah, I've never been into his
and
music.
He's continued to, it wasn't a one-off.
Yeah.
He's just a dork.
Yeah. I'm not into that pop country stuff. I would feel like most of our listeners aren't, but some surprise me.
Good hedge.
Yeah. Some surprise me.
We hedge a lot around here.
Yeah.
We'll say something definitive. We'll say, yeah, he's a piece of shit. But you know what?
He has his nice side.
I'm sure he has good attributes too. But that way you err on the side of riding both sides of the fence.
Yeah. Hey, I want to give a couple shout outs to two different people / podcasts. I went on one of them, Jonathan Core. I want to give you a shout out, man. Thanks for having me on your podcast, Construction Marketers. It was a fun conversation. Different than a lot of the things I talk about. So if you're into the more like creative side and the behind the curtain type of stuff that we do here on the Dirty and Driven podcast, that's a great one to do. Or if you're just somebody who's got a construction company or you're a marketing person there, whatever, he's got a good show and he's a good dude. The other one, Sweat and Grime, that one's not out yet, but we had a hell of a time recording this past week. I think it'll be out the week after this show comes out. So keep your ears out for that one, because that was a great way to waste an hour and a half. So check that show out if you're into that kind of stuff. Anyways, Relo,
What's up?
you are the first ever official pin roll, please, Mr. Ponca City.
Yep.
The other
That's
day
me.
before that competition, we were talking about this a couple shows ago, and Casey said, maybe we can have the winner on the show. And I said, we'll see. So here you are. We can touch on that for a little while, but the biggest thing is really why you even did that in the first place. But anyways, man, tell me a little bit about that whole thing.
Actually, guys, I didn't even like the idea.
Neither did I.
As like just someone being in the class, like there was a lot of pride in it. I was pissed off that just a couple of people thought my idea was cool. And then I was like, a pageant? No one's going to enter a pageant in Ponca City.
As a backstory, we had to, Relo and I were in a Ponca City leadership class together, and we had to put on a project. And it could have been it could have been anything, any sort of project to benefit the community or nonprofit or something like that. So that we had to come up with the idea is what he's talking about there.
Yep. So, I mean, I didn't like the idea. I said, who the hell in Ponca City is going to enter a pageant? Man, anyway. We're not going to get any like pavement people like from Evans or concrete or
Not a lot of blue collar guys who thought we're going to compete in there.
No, we're not going to get any welders. We're not going to get any like farmhands. We're not going to get like any like men into this pageant, you know? And I'm happy that I was wrong because we had men from all different walks of life.
Yeah, 10 different ones. What the thing was it was a competition, and it was 10 different men competing, and they represented a nonprofit, and they fundraised and they raised money before the show and then during the show, and then they were interviewed by yours truly, and then they had to do a talent portion. There's 10 different guys, but whoever won would win a winner take all pot of all the proceeds to a nonprofit. Well, Relo won that for his nonprofit, which was like, we don't know the total yet, but around 30 grand. So we raised some coin doing that event.
I was shocked. I never try to win anything. I just always just try to just do my best, make sure my agenda is known, and raise awareness for whatever it is that I'm trying to raise awareness for. And that's what I did. That's all I wanted to do. And I won. And I was shocked because it was, like I said, something I didn't even believe in at first, something I didn't even want to do. And the only reason I entered, actually, guys, was because the director of Daring House told me to enter. I went to him. Shout out to Daring House Child Advocacy Center. Mark is the director. I went to Mark and I was like, hey, this is what my class is doing. This is the idea. This is what we are finalizing. And he was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, you want to be a contestant? And he was like, oh, I'm a Marine. And, things like that. He said, you should enter. You're a therapist, right? Let me see your hands. Have you ever done anything hard in your life? And I was like, well, yeah, actually. But he was like, well, actually, you enter and we'll pay for half of it. And I said, okay, let's do it. And I said, Mark, actually, I just want to raise awareness. Not a lot of people know what Child Advocacy Center in Ponca City does. And as long as we can raise awareness, we can get all of these people aware of what it is we do, we can raise our platform and maybe get some, advocacy from business owners and leaders in this community to back us.
So
that was my goal.
You're sitting here talking about raise awareness. What is it?
Well, it's kind of a heavy topic, actually. So Child Advocacy Center, no matter what county you're in, a child goes to Child Advocacy Center if they have experienced or if there's allegations of an experience of child abuse, heinous child abuse. Like we're talking about molestation. You've experienced personally, not just witnessed, but experienced some type of domestic abuse, beating, witnessed a homicide, or been involved in something extreme like that. So you go to the Child Advocacy Center and you do a forensic interview with a trained professional. From there, you are assigned a advocate to walk you through the entire legal process. And you're partnered with the assigned assistant district attorney. You're talking to your advocate, your assistant district attorney, your child welfare workers. Everybody involved is going to walk this child and family through that whole process. And it takes lots of training. It's not always cheap, but it's necessary because it's a matter of a conviction or a predator walking free. And so it's intense.
Yeah.
So we've got to have trained professionals.
Are you a trained professional?
You can stop at, am I trained?
Yeah.
No. Oh. I'm not a forensic interviewer. Not at all. Okay. I validate feelings and I do process and I am able to decipher what is the truth, what is not the truth. And then once that's discovered, we will explore that.
That's pretty neat, man.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of mental health stuff and things around, mainly children and all that, right?
Absolutely.
Keeps burping in the mic. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so you were representing them in this little competition. Casey, I used you a little bit. You know how a couple weeks ago you ragged on me for talking about a boutique? That's kind of how I felt with that word pageant being thrown around for men.
Yeah.
So I had a whole bit on that in my,
you did?
my performance. Oh, yeah. I stole it straight out of your mouth.
No,
I credited you, though.
You said my name during the deal?
Yeah, I said my boy Casey.
There you go. That's good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't like at KCD369, give him a follow.
Yeah. Shout out.
No, next year when we do this competition, because it was probably, I know Relo just brought up a lot of heavy hitting, things on that. And there was some of that in the show that we did, but it was a comedy show, man. For the most part, like it was a long show, but 75% of that was comedy show. It was fun. We kept it fun. So next year, Casey, you and I need to host it together.
Oh, is that it?
That's it. Right. I did it this year solo.
So it's a recurring deal?
It is now.
Well, what about the Miss Ponca City pageant next year?
What about it?
Next year. Like, do it alternating. People can take a break 1 year from the men and let the women shine. That way the men come in stronger 2 years later.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Right now, it's just men that we're working on. I think what's great about this event, and the reason why I even want to talk about it, is I think next year, Relo and I and some other people have already started talking about it, and I think next year it's an event that would raise over $100,000.
Oh, I bet, dude,
Close.
Just with
we raised
that money.
We raised over 50 this year. So that 30 was just the proceeds, and then there was the donations to all the other charities through this event, and it was over $50,000. And people didn't really know what it was. They thought it was some gay ass little pageant, and now they realize it's like a really cool, fun event.
Gay ass and fun ass little pageant. Gay ass, fun ass.
Gay meaning happy.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
yes.
Okay. Somebody would have been happy, but it's but yeah, dude, that's what they thought it was going to be, and I had a lot of people tell me that, and they're like, dude, that was literally the most fun event ever. So I wanted to bring it up on our platform so our listeners could go, damn, dude, I'm coming next year. Let's go.
I saw Relo's the little reel or whatever that you put in, like before, and dude, that thing was pretty tight. I mean, it was just real short, concise, but it was edited real well. I thought it was awesome. It's like, holy shit, man, this thing's pretty good.
Yeah, I put a lot of work into it. 30 minutes.
But you got it all. I mean, by the time you did the filming and all this and that and chopping it down and all that, about 30 minutes of work, really?
Honestly, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
and I was impressed because I just didn't know what I was doing. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to figure it out. And I used this program called CapCut, super easy.
Yeah.
User friendly. And that's what I used.
So CapCut can do that also?
Yeah.
I just do the CapCut to where, they have
the pre-made templates.
Yeah, I bought the subscription the other day.
Really?
I use the free one.
What does the subscription do for you?
I can't remember what it was, but it's not. And I might be on the 30-day trial.
Oh yeah,
meaning I might need to back out of it.
I see.
But it had a really cool one, and I think I used 1, 2, or 3 of the free templates. And if you use one more, you got to pay for it.
Oh,
but I really wanted to use that one more, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm going to pay for it." And then I'll just have that subscription along with my other 30 or 40 subscriptions, all other bullshit that I never use.
All million things that's coming out.
Yeah, but
I understand.
You did all that with CapCut then, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was neat. Yeah, you made a good video with just CapCut for that.
So, back to this pageant deal. What did you do? I have no clue. I'd like to at least know a little bit. You had the interview portion between the red fern or between the ferns,
yeah,
right?
Between two ferns interviews. Yeah, so I was just up there asking people. I asked them a few serious questions, but I asked some to make people giggle. Some controversial depending on the contestant. Some just making fun of people. Kind of like Zach Galifianakis asking Hillary Clinton. Oh yeah, what do you think about Donald Trump? It's like that's the kind of stuff I was asking.
Actually, James kept the show. He kept the show rolling because a lot of my co-contestants, they were pretty nervous, and a lot of guys were just shaking in their boots.
Yeah, I believe it.
But it was James pulling the questions out of them and just keeping things rolling. And so he did a really good job.
Who better to ask than a podcast host? I can talk to a brick wall, man.
And you do. Right behind you.
Yeah, there's literally a brick wall right here. I'm talking to it all day long,
Well, it's one thing getting in front of a crowd of people.
It's
whole. Plus, you're used to playing your gigs and stuff. But I think getting the reps in, like with you and I, BS, and then when we have guests on and stuff, it sure does help.
It helps being quick-witted because
Yeah,
I mean, dude,
exactly.
the crowd,
Yes.
people in the crowd were yelling shit at me that I had to I could ignore it and just keep rolling, or I could take it and run with it. You know?
Did you pick and choose a few hecklers? Did you answer them in the crowd?
Oh yeah, I mean there was some, like there was a fog machine that went off and they like literally couldn't see me from the balcony. They're like, "We can't see you!" Like they just kept yelling, and finally I was like, "It's because I'm John fucking Cena, bitch!" You know?
Or it's because you're old. I mean, one or the other.
Hey, what was it recorded? Surely there's a video.
Bits and pieces. We don't have just one long recording of the whole thing, but there's just pieces and parts.
I mean, I don't want to get too budget wise, but I just wonder if next year, if you could get a couple different cameras set up.
Well, we had a videographer, but
Nice.
they were a free videographer, and we appreciated that free videographer.
They did a really good job. We're happy for their efforts.
We appreciated what
Okay,
we
so
paid
there was
to
a
get
question.
them.
That was there any other? So then there was a talent, as in doing
Yeah,
something?
like Relo sang, a couple of people sang, but dude, there was like comedy, there was magic, there was crazy,
So there was magic, huh?
goofy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Attempted magic. He would have won had he not fucked his trick up, but
Yeah.
you know, no joke either. And you know, there was just a lot of different stuff. It was a variety show. It was cool. It was different.
I have.
You know, then there was blue collar guys in there too, which I thought was neat. It wasn't your quote pretty people. You know, it was. I mean, look at Relo. You know,
Exactly.
you know, there was a lot of different people and occupations and walks of life.
We blue collar workers do have some talent. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, dude. There was some blue collar guys in there singing.
Was there any guys up there doing a puppetry of the penis or dick tricks?
No, I was really hoping that there would have been like a good dick chicken match. Although there was one guy who was close. He rode a stick horse.
Oh my God. I thought you were going to talk about the poem.
No, that was like serious, man.
Dude, have you ever seen the loping contest or whatever, where people go to, you know how they get on horses and do the loping, to where, you know, you ride a horse and the horse, it's like
Are you talking about LARPing?
not LARPing, where you dress up and you fake fight in medieval clothes, right? But, you know, a horse, when it's doing that galloping, it's in between a gallop, it's called like loping, and you see him, you know, in a deal. Well, they legitly have contests, look it up, to where people go with stick horses. Have you seen it?
No.
Dude, look it up right now. Look it up right now, and I'll tell the story while you're looking it up. They stick. It's a competition. It's like where the dogs do the dog competitions. You know, it's like on turf and stuff. And then these kids will come out, and even older people, and they'll have the stick horse between their legs, and they'll run around with the stick horse between their legs like they're riding it, and they'll do like little tricks, and they get judged on their performance. Dude,
It's called dressage, right?
Is that what it's called?
That's what this guy called it. Was a traditional European dressage. Here's one here. World class dressage stick horse contest.
Congratulations. Well done.
Let's just see if we can. Oh, this is like a post interview.
get to the action.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Oh,
There you go.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah,
Those are actual stick horses?
yes, they got it between their legs,
I'm embarrassed.
dude. So the dude with the horse between his legs, I mean, he might have been inspired by that.
Or, yeah.
I mean, these guys are dressed up.
You believe that shit?
Dude, and there's like people that are watching. Like, there's a good crowd there.
I mean, I'd have to beat my own self up if I got into that crap.
Yeah, dude, you'd have to just walk out in the dark alley and beat the shit out of yourself.
But there was no like dick tricks then.
No, not that I saw.
I have a buddy in town. I ain't gonna name his name, but he knows if he listens. But he was the master at dick tricks at parties.
What's a dick trick?
Exactly what you think it is. You whip it out and you do all types of different contortions and things with it. He had one that he called the. I'll save it for the last, but he had the 80-year-old woman's tongue. That was one of them that he'd do. And basically take the scrotum sac and pull it out real big, kind of fluff it around to where it looks like an old woman's tongue. That was one of them. He had snake on a trampoline, where he pull the scrotum out, then bounce his wiener on the scrotum. That's called a snake on a trampoline. Another one, but the best one, I mean, the show stealer, the show stopper, it was called the Bulldog. And what he'd do is he'd take his dick and balls, he'd stick it between his legs, then he'd turn around on the ground on all fours, and then he'd show his ass from behind, and you see the dick and balls. He'd call that the Bulldog, man.
What the fuck? Why was he doing that?
Because it was funny, dude.
A lot of people think wieners are hilarious.
They are kind of funny, man.
God, dude.
I have another one called Lungs, which Lungs took talent. he could pull up on it. He could pull up on it, and he could make, as he pulled up on it, and you got the old testicles hanging down here, he could make them breathe to where one of the testicles would go up like this, then the other one would go like Lungs.
What the fuck, dude?
And nobody did that?
He was the life of the party.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, he knows who he is.
Hey, what's his name?
Not now. We even made shirts for his bachelor party, and
He was his own entertainment.
yeah, he's a good buddy of mine, man. But HBO had a show. He would do this, but HBO had a show probably in the early 2000s, and it was a show called Puppetry of the Penis, and it had two guys that they would do like a magic. It'd be like a magic show, but it would be they'd go out to a stage like this down here, you know, with the spotlight on them, and they would do all their different tricks and stuff, just the same as my buddy would do.
What the world, dude? That was a thing.
Dude, imagine the money that you could raise for awareness doing that.
What?
Think of the Deering House. If I could legitly get $250,000, you can't. Oh my God, Casey, that's great. All right, and it's cool. Anything I do, right? Yeah, Casey, it's great. And go out there and put the tricks on.
Pull your ding dong out for the kids.
Yeah, it's for the kids, man.
I meant dick out for the kids.
Hey, that's kind of why they're there.
Yeah, that's why they need. It's a good thing there's a therapist in the studio.
Well, it was
today,
a 21 and over crowd, right?
Oh, that's true.
It's true.
Yeah. I pull my dick out for the kids. Everybody's like, "What did he just say?" It just sounds like a line from like a B-rated movie. Just like one of those funny, stupid movies. You could just see like somebody in like a school saying that in a shitty movie, just like. And that's why I pull my dick out for kids. And everybody go, what the fuck did he just say? Oh, that's wild. Okay.
Good one.
Wow. So another news. I'm officially going to run for governor.
I'll vote for you.
Not this year, but maybe in like 10 years, 20 years.
Oh, is this your announcement?
It's my announcement. Nobody really knows it except my wife, but I've decided I'm going to run for governor.
For the state of Oklahoma?
Yeah.
I'm sure, like to be the United States president, you have to be, a natural born citizen, 35 years old, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Are there prerequisites for?
You have to have lived in the state for 14 years or more. You have to be at least 31. That's pretty much it. Obviously, you got to be registered voter and all that good stuff. Clean criminal record. A clean, known criminal record. Yeah. That's it. And you got to be independently wealthy, essentially. I was talking to the lieutenant governor a few weeks ago, and he told me that you pretty well have to be a millionaire to be able to afford to campaign anymore. So I'm going to wait till I'm independently wealthy enough to do that.
Well, Kevin Stitt, he had owned Gateway Mortgage before he became governor, or while he was governor at the time. And we had actually had our first mortgage, my wife and I did, through Gateway.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And then whenever he was running for governor, it was like, the owner of Gateway Mortgage, fuck, that's who we have our mortgage with.
And you're like, oh, Kevin?
Yeah.
Oh, Kev?
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He approved me for my first house, $60,000 mortgage.
He's got my vote.
Yeah.
He gave us a chance. Everybody else denied us. He gave us a chance, and he gave us a 29.8% APR on our 30-year mortgage, man. I mean, it's beautiful, man.
Yeah. He gave us a chance when no one else would. He gave us a 30% interest rate, and he repoed our house after 6 months. I love that guy.
Guess what? No money down. You got shitty credit. Don't worry about it.
It's like going to a used car lot. Good credit, bad credit, no credit.
Yeah.
Oh shit, man. So we got a good news story too, and we're gonna come back to your mental health stuff, Relo. But we got some other stuff that we need to cover too on this show. So I know that you're a guest here, but this is our house, and we do have things that have to be addressed in the house. And one of those is this news story that Casey tagged me in. We haven't reported on this topic in a while, but it's kind of been a staple of the Dirty and Driven podcast since Casey came on board full time. And that is about chili cheese conies from Sonic. And there's some important news reflecting that. Turns out Sonic is under fire for using cramped cages for pregnant pigs. Now, how does that affect the chili cheese coney? Casey, what is your take?
I don't know. That was my question
Yes.
when I commented on there. So who at least reported that? Was it KOCO?
KPNC, the radio station.
KPNC. Okay, so
the Ponca
local.
City News Cow.
Okay, hey, that's some breaking news that KPNC did that. You know what I mean? They're on top of things.
Yeah. That's what I love is like on the, how on Facebook you can see people like liked it, hearted it, loved it, cared, laughed. It's all laughing emojis.
I was personally outraged. I mean, I couldn't believe it. How could they?
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Just make sure it's good.
Yeah.
But you have factory farms, man. And if you ever been around, dude, and let's do this. Your cramped might be different of a cramped cage might be different than Relo's. What is it? What's a cramped cage for one pig or 10
What
pigs?
is a woman?
What if the pigs are on each other's back? Is it as cramped as it was before?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know, man. So how is it going to affect them? It sounds like your footlongs might have a bump in them because they're pregnant. That's all I can think of.
They might hang to the left.
Yeah.
More protein. Whoops.
Relo, you do understand that the false advertising that they claim to have foot-long chili cheese conies, and I've gotten out the tape measure. That's why the tape measure is here. And each time I measure, because I'll measure the foot-long chili cheese conies from Sonic after I order them, and it'll be 11.25 inches pretty much.
And that's a big one.
Yeah.
A lot of times they're like 10 something.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's what she said, actually.
damn.
But I think they err on the side of, no, that was pre-cooked weight. They'll fall on that. If
Shrinkage. The shrinkage. It was in the water. It was in the pool.
I mean, seriously, if I got into a legal battle, if I took them to court, they would say, that's pre-cooked weight.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, that was the Dirty and Driven news for the day. I thought that we would report that. I know that nobody cares, but we do. Did I read the article? No.
Oh, and check this out.
No, but I read the headline.
So somebody mentioned, said, I thought they were all beef dogs, which my understanding, I mean, seriously, and I commented on there, my understanding is the 6-inch conies supposedly are the all beef hot dogs.
Oh.
But the 12 or the supposed 12 inchers aren't.
So I learned something today, dude. Costco. I got to give it out to Costco. Y'all ever been to Costco?
But they're getting a lot of traction about their hot dogs and the food that they serve there.
So that's what I was going to bring up. We were there this morning. My wife drug me there. I hate Costco because there's just too many people and they have no direction and they're just blindly walking around in this fucking hellhole of a store and there's just tripping over each other. I mean, it's a store as big as this town and there's just, you can't hardly walk. There's so many people in there and they all just are clueless as to what is going on around them. And it is just absolutely horrendous for me. I hate going to Costco. Anyways, we went to Costco this morning, but there was a silver lining that I saw that their hot dogs are for a hot dog and a 20-ounce drink, $1.50.
Yeah. Beautiful.
They said, fuck your inflation, fuck your COVID. We're keeping this the same price.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're losing money on that transaction right now.
But so I've never physically walked through a Costco, but I stepped foot in a Costco a year ago when my wife had back surgery. I was killing time waiting on her. And so I went, oh, fuck, I'm going to go to Costco. It's just right across the street. So I went in and, did my getting ready to walk through. And they're like, oh, sir, you got to, hey, no, well, you got a membership? I got, no, I just want to put eyes on it. No, dude. Before you even step foot and walk through, you have to go over there and get a membership or whatever.
Dude, getting into Costco is harder than getting into the club.
Dude, seriously.
I mean, they're checking you, man. They got bouncers. They are ready to fight. That's nuts.
Good deals, though. Good deals, I assume.
Some of them, yeah.
Is it kind of like comparable to a Sam's Club?
I think it's the same thing, but just different.
So, what does Sam's Club do to go toe to toe with the $1.50 hot dogs, or do they?
I don't know. Really, you just said you've been to Sam's Club.
Sam's has really good ices
Okay.
and popcorn.
But are they? Are they cheap?
Yeah, they were like $1.
Oh, well,
I'll take that.
You can't beat $1 icy.
No.
Can't beat $1 icy.
What about do they do appetizers at those deals? Where they cook little stuff or samplers?
Oh, samplers?
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, some days. I don't go there a lot. I'm sure they do.
We used to go get the samplers just for the hell of it. We would just get full off samplers. Like we would go in a circle around the store, just collecting samplers. Just
my wife used to do that
because there was nothing to do
with her mom in Dallas. They'd go to Costco around lunchtime, and they'd have a bunch of samples out, and that's like what they do for lunch.
We used to
samples.
Can't beat that.
We used to get pretty much a meal. I don't think it was very beneficial for you, but we'd go to Long John Silver's, and we would just order the crumbs, the crunchies, and a water.
Yeah.
You ever tried the crunchies or the crumbs?
The best.
I can't say
the crunchies or the crumbs are the batter that they batter all their fish and chicken and stuff with. It's just they're like a small little ball, crunchy balls, and the fucking batter is amazing. And you just eat these. They're like Pop Rocks almost, but they don't pop.
And they taste like just batter.
Yeah, but the batter's it's damn good batter. But it doesn't.
It's so good.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. I don't think you're getting any protein or.
Well, no,
shit like that.
no, dude. I used to make funnel cakes.
Really?
Oh yeah, dude. I was a good funnel cake maker back in probably middle school. Oh yeah.
So did you have your own deep fryer, or did you?
I'd borrow somebody's. Mm-hmm. You'd get it and you'd deep fry them, and oh, dude, I can make a good funnel cake.
What's the best oil for a funnel cake? Besides 10W30,
I think that we were using 10W30 in your
Valvoline.
In your funnel, yeah. I'm a Valvoline man. You want to get some good quality oil. Yeah. No, I think that we were just using just canola oil.
Holy cannoli.
Because you're fancy.
Yeah. God.
This thing's all over the place.
This is all over the place for we are. I don't want to say we're off our game today, but our game's different today. That's for sure.
A lot of wiener stuff.
A lot of wieners.
Naturally.
Conies and hot dogs and dick tricks.
And dick tricks, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of stuff. What's funny is I always go into these things with great intentions of like, here's some stuff I want to talk about, some good stuff, some good solid topics. And like sometimes I put a list in my phone, sometimes I just think about it at work, and then we get here and then I'm like, dick tricks. And that's what I could post that on TikTok tomorrow and you'd probably get another 2 million views.
And then you get here and you're like, bulldog.
I had some fucking marketing guy telling me the other day for some company. They're like, oh my gosh, this is what we did to get a video on TikTok to hit, 200,000 plays. And, you got to really be, no. I said, I finally put my hand up. I'm like, yes, hey, yeah. So, I got a video on TikTok that went viral. They're like, okay. I was like, yeah, we were talking about dry docking. And they were like, sitting here like, I don't remember what they were doing. They weren't teaching a class. They were just talking to a bunch of people trying to, I don't remember. They were somebody was asking questions about it and they were just, and I was like, yeah, so if you really want to go, this is what you need to do. Just talk about nothing of value and you'll hit it.
At times we know what the people want.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
People love wieners and poop. Apparently.
Hey, so we got a therapist here, and this
Yes.
is something I talked about on the Sweat and Grime
Yeah.
podcast.
Hey, therapists, analyze us. Therapists.
Have you ever watched Arrested Development?
Nope.
So there's a guy on there. He wanted to be the first analysis therapist, and he made his business card to say that he was an analorapist. Spell that out on a piece of paper. Yeah. So, anyways, what kind of mental issues do the people in the blue collar world have? Because I just learned that a number 3 is something that's a trend on construction sites. You know what number 3 is in a porta potty?
What's that?
That's whenever you go into a porta potty and you jerk off.
See, I thought a number 3 was whenever you poop and pee at the same
Yes.
time.
Well, that's what I thought.
That's
I was just told that
That must be
that's
a
what
number, no, not a number 4, because number 4 would have to involve all of that plus the end, the finish.
the happy ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's apparently a thing that I learned.
But you're right on number 3.
And this is why I go on other podcasts, because you get to learn other people's perspectives and what they know. So what kind of mental issues do you have to go into a porta potty in the middle of summer when it's 95 degrees, reeking of fucking yesterday's tacos and despair, and just crank your hog in there, dude?
Relo?
Is that a question?
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
You're the
You know what?
therapist.
Let's do a little role plan. Let's do a little role plan. I'm coming to you. You're
Oh
my
my
therapist. So you kick this off. You're the therapist.
What brings you in today?
Well, Relo, nice cornrows, by the way. I like the new hairdo. It really makes me feel at home. If you could threaten to shoot me later, that would be great too. That would just I'm from the hood, so.
It's nothing. I got you.
He's not going to be any easier on you. Just get to the point.
Yeah, well, anyway, you got to warm up, dude. It's a therapist. Who's this guy in the office, Relo? I thought this was confidential, just me and you.
So this is all confidential unless you are a threat to yourself, someone else,
Yes.
or
So you need a third party in here.
Well, so the third party? He's a third party?
he's training or something.
Yes.
Okay, he's training or something. Okay.
I'm an apprentice.
Oh, okay. Okay, you're looking to get your journarman therapist.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah. So, anyways, Relo, I've got this issue, man. I every day at work, it's like I just have this thing that I don't know how to stop doing this, but it's the only place I feel safe. But whenever I'm at work every day, I've been going into the porta potty, and I've just had to. Man, I've just had some stuff I've needed to relieve while I'm in there.
Tell me more.
Well, I go in there, and then every now and then, there's a picture of someone draws like a naked woman on the door or something, or some sort of thing, and it just gets me thinking okay. So then I'll take my 15-minute break in the morning or something, and I'll just start cranking one out.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I have to relieve myself sexually.
In the porta potty?
Yeah, it's the only place on site that I can really do that.
What's going on at home?
Well, it's been kind of rough lately, man. My wife and I, we haven't been getting along too well. Actually, I'm not even married. We've been going through a rough patch. So
where I would go with that is I would go with, wow, that sounds stressful. And then we would start talking about what stresses you out. And then how are you coping with that? And you're coping with playing with your ding dong at work.
there we go. That was good, man.
Then we would talk about alternative, appropriate, if that's not appropriate or not, it just depends on the person. Coping skills.
Oh, look at that.
So when you say ding dong, because he was talking about his hog. I mean, is that what you're talking about? I mean, I want to get this shit.
Wait, are we still talking about the hot dogs at Sonic, or are we talking about his actual personal?
Yeah, his hog short for hot dog.
I was talking about the pinned in hogs.
Apparently, I'm confused.
What were you talking about?
Man, that was good, dude. I don't know how I'd be able to.
Hey, you'd be surprised what comes our way, especially like dealing with, or not dealing, but like working with adolescent kids, 9th grade through 12th grade. You'd be surprised.
Really?
And you've got to have a really good poker face. You've got to make sure that you're validating their feelings and experiences, even if they're, something that James just said. You can't make it seem weird.
Huh.
You want them to feel safe enough to be super honest with you, no matter what it is.
Yeah, I could see where that would be important to if someone's going to get help to do that. So what makes a no, this is actually a serious question. So we talk about mental health a lot on the Dirty and Driven podcast.
It happens to be Mental Health Month, just in the work.
Me.
Oh yeah, it is Mental Health Month. Look at that. Yeah, that was perfectly planned. Yeah, good job, Casey.
See, I have some value.
Yeah,
He's on top of it.
yeah. So we do talk a lot about mental health because, I mean, obviously in the trades, there's a very high risk of suicide. I mean, of all the occupations, it's one of the top. It's either the top or the second top. I mean, construction, agriculture, they're kind of the top industries for worker suicide, which is terrible.
Wow.
Obviously, mostly male-dominated fields. Not is there a correlation there? Probably somewhere. But we talk a lot about that because we have a lot of listeners who resonate with that, who need help mentally and things like that, or who may want help but haven't ever gotten it. So I mean, what's the difference if somebody reaches out for therapy or something like that? What's the difference between a good therapist and a bad therapist? Because there's bad therapists out there.
So for all of your listeners, guys, if you ever run into someone who's giving you advice, go the other way. If you ever go into a session and someone's cheerleading and telling you what to do step by step, you go the other way. That person, that therapist is on a track they're going to eventually hurt somebody. Whenever you're building rapport with a client, the therapy and all, it depends on your personal values and your, what you value. So if I'm imposing my personal beliefs on you, how are you going to solve your own issues based off of my personal values? You are supposed to be, we're supposed to be having a conversation that you're led to solve your problems based off of what you value, your personal morals, your personal beliefs. And if I am telling you what to do, that's me imposing my personal values and my personal beliefs onto you. And when we get into like trauma therapy and things like that, that's different. But the foundation, it's all about the client. It should never be about me. You shouldn't leave there knowing anything about me, what I think, what I value, my personal beliefs, anything. So if you ever get into that situation, you need to go the other way. You probably don't have a very trained or seasoned or good or whatever therapist.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
And then you see these people, and sometimes you're in therapy for years and years and years, and that's totally fine. But sometimes there's a reason because there's a deep-rooted issue, or sometimes it's because they've just had not a good experience.
Huh. Wow. Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, I know a lot of guys that have been through therapy or tried it. Blue collar guys that, a lot of them are the strong, independent. I can do this on my own. I can fix myself. But they go through a real rough patch where they try it and it doesn't work out for them, and myself included. I've been through it too, where I've gone and I'm like, that was just a total waste of my time. And I frankly haven't gone back since then. And so that's why I asked that question is what makes a good or bad one, and that's interesting. But can it also be like there's a balance there, because obviously as a therapist, I would think that like if you're going to them, you're there for help, so they don't necessarily have to cheerlead you. So I mean, what do? I mean, where's the other side of that? Like obviously you don't want to be too rah. Oh, you're doing okay, it's fine. Everything you're doing is cool. It's whatever you do. You live your best life. Like that you can go too far that way, but I feel like you can also go too far the other way of just like being so neutral.
You're right.
And not say a word.
Yeah, you have. I mean, I would figure you'd have to give options or guidance. You don't want to lead the witness. I mean, I'm sure people are there for help.
So,
and if you're just, this is just me thinking out loud. And if you're just there, like, fuck, I ain't getting shit from. I'm saying this is an 8-year-old, 13-year-old. I ain't getting shit from this guy. He's just looking at me, staring at me.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Give me some feedback.
right.
You know what I mean? You have to give some, right?
Why do you do that? Hey,
He does that whenever I was picking my nose or something one time, and I knew that I was done talking, and he fucking did it on me. But he always makes himself look pretty.
Oh, bullshit.
Yes.
I
Oh,
make
you
myself
always
look
do.
worse than anybody else.
Yeah, you do.
Sorry that I'm just pretty.
he flips his hair.
As I flip my hair. Yeah,
No,
all right,
you're
sorry
right.
to the 20 people who are going to see this on YouTube, you know.
I'm paying this motherfucker $250 an hour, and he's just staring at me.
Yeah. So once we build rapport, once rapport is built, there's trust established. We're going to set some goals. You told me initially, like, what brings you into therapy? And so I have an idea of like why you're here. But the more we build rapport, the more we build our relationship, we're going to be able to identify specific goals of like what it is specifically you need to work through according to the client, not according to me. But of course I have my input. I could, at that point, we have a relationship. I could throw in some ideas. Well, and just using your words, well, you know, a couple of sessions ago, you mentioned X, Y, and Z. Is this something that what do you think about this? And a lot of times the client will say, oh yeah, I have a horrible relationship with this person and I would love to work this out. So this is a goal. This is an agenda that we're building, and we have like criteria, you know, we're going to work through this, and this before you will be discharged. And so let's say it's anxiety. Somebody comes in, they have anxiety. They say 7 out of 7 days, it lasts 8 hours out of a 12-hour day. To discharge from that anxiety, we're going to say this person will, depending on what you're comfortable with, have anxiety 3 out of 7 hours or whatever I said, 3 out of 7 days, 4 hours out of a 12-hour day. That's the agenda that we set as a team to get you out of therapy for this problem. Same thing with like interpersonal issues, family issues, like you have a horrible relationship with your dad or your in-laws. What are we going to work on? And it's all up to the client. And I'm just there to guide the conversation. I'm there to pull it out of you, you know? And when it comes to like more specific things, like I mentioned earlier, like trauma or like, well, trauma, I mean, things could look a lot different.
Yeah, there's
But
all types of trauma, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. But the more like common things, anxiety, everyone's anxious. Everyone deals with some depression. You know, those are things that it's subjective and it's
Right.
personalized to each person. And each treatment plan is going to be personal to each person. And I'm just there to kind of guide that whole situation without inserting myself, you know?
Well, that sounds to me like the technique I heard that Jocko Willink talks about in his leadership things, to where when he worked, you heard of Jocko Willink, right?
Yeah.
You haven't?
No, who's that?
He's this ex-Navy SEAL guy that has this. He's a very successful guy. Like, he's highly respected, but he's written one book called Extreme Ownership. Then he's got another one. What's the leadership one called? Extreme Leadership.
Leadership. Well, there's dichotomy of leadership.
Yeah.
Leadership. Something in tactics.
So
he's got several.
He was over a bunch of guys in Ramadi.
What's his name?
Jocko Willink. Yeah, dude, you need to look him up. But while he was talking right there was a technique that Jocko used for leadership, to where when he'd have guys on his team that, I'm not saying weren't pulling their weight, but maybe they needed to be more involved, Jocko would have an idea on what needed to be done. But instead of Jocko pointing and saying, hey, dude, you go do this, this, and that, he'd pitch it to them. Say, hey, man, what do you think about us going over here and taking care of these guys? Mm-hmm. And then the guys would say, well, I think we do. And, okay, so do you think it's good to do this or that? And pretty much what he would do is he wouldn't lead them, but what he would do is once they pitched the idea that was probably made the most sense, dude, that's a great idea, James. Mm-hmm. Dude, let's go with that, man. That's all you. Kind of like the same with what you're just talking about with your clients or the people that come into you. You probably have a pretty good sense on the path that they need to go down. But instead of it coming from you saying, you need to do this and that, you kind of pitch it to where it's their idea and they're making their own schedule and goals to get things accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think
That can go either way. Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
They can go, yeah.
Oh,
You're
go
right.
ahead. Oh, yeah.
Because you have more buy-in, right? Let's say you're not passive, but you're more of a in your shell type of person.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's one of these deals to where you think that you came up with the idea, which I mean you did, but you had some help, right?
Yeah.
You had Relo's help. But when you think it's yours, then you have more buy-in, then you have more, maybe a little gusto that you're going to get shit done, you know?
Well, I think that's such an important thing too for somebody who may be a boss in the construction industry is you can take that same technique, just like you're saying Jocko did, just like anybody can. Like you have a guy that, let's say his quality of work has gone way downhill and you know that it is unlike him. And I've seen this firsthand. And you go up to him and you say, hey, my guy, what's up? Like I can tell that you're off your game. Like you don't have to be a dick and go up to him. You can go up to him, rip his ass and say, dude, your work is shit. This is terrible. It ain't gonna cut it. This isn't up to the standard. You can say that, but that ain't gonna work. That dude's already shit. He's probably at home fighting with his wife every night, all this stuff. Well, you go up to him and you say, what's up? Like, what's going on, man? Like I can tell that you're not right. You're not up to your normal level. And that guy might sit there and he goes, oh shit. Other people are starting to notice the holes in my game because they're probably going through a lot of shit and they're just trying to keep it covered up. Well, it's starting to, the cracks are showing, and you can sit there and you can pry it out of him and you can get him to open up naturally and just say, hell, I've been going through, especially if you have good rapport, if you're his boss or something like that, you know him, he knows you, and you do have good rapport with him. You're coming to him to have a real conversation. He might open up to you and he might say, well, to be honest with you, I've got this going on at home. My mom's sick. We've been taking care of her. And, my wife and I haven't really been getting along too well. Plus we got kids that are getting in trouble at school and I haven't been able to cope with all this very well. So I've started drinking a lot and it's just all going downhill. And, look, man, I mean, I understand all that. I hope I can help you in any way I can, but we've got to get you back on track here too. And sometimes those guys will just take initiative in their own hand because somebody noticed and acknowledged it. And then they come to you and they say, yeah, you know what, this drinking is a problem. And it's to the point where people do notice it and I've got to stop. Otherwise it's going to end really badly, So I've seen that on multiple occasions with different people. And that's just a good way to do it. And then you're not being confrontational. You're not pissing them off. You're not threatening to fire them. You're not threatening to, make their life even worse. Their life already sucks. Why kick a dog that's down,
Yeah. Be there for your coworkers and your friends. We talked about this before to where if you know the baseline James, I know the baseline James. I know how you are. I mean, but I will know if you're off. I mean, I know what James is, but it's like, like here, but that's the baseline. Mm-hmm. But I know if you're I know if something's off. And if something's off, that's when you need to be there for people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And offer it. We talked about this last year. I think about the same time, maybe a little after. My buddy had lost his mom, but it's one of those deals. If things are kind of off or whatever, man, throw out that. Don't be afraid to throw out the, man, hey, I'm here for you. I mean, I know you've never heard this before or from me, but dude, if you ever need anything, man, let me know. I'm a phone call away, dude. I'm right here.
Dude, I had a boss tell me one time.
Goes a long way.
I was off one time and I had a boss. He wasn't really my boss, but he was kind of the one instructed to talk to me about it. And this is not the avenue to go down because this will piss somebody off. But I was going through some stuff and some really heavy stuff, really hard time in my life. And they kind of acknowledged, hey, we noticed some holes in your game, stuff like that. And I had that realization of, fuck, dude, I can't believe people are actually noticing. Like, I know that I've been slacking, and I admitted to it. And the response was, yeah, well, you can't bring your problems to work. Not like, hey, maybe you should go get help. Maybe you need, time off. Maybe you need to, no, just, man, you can't be bringing your problems to work. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah, that kind of just sounds like an old school mentality type of deal.
Dude, that's the type of shit that you're like, that's not helping. Like, you're going to lead a guy to quit or spiral way out if you talk to him like that.
Yeah, I've mentioned times before, which the line of work I'm in, that if I'm not 100% efficient on what I do, and if I have a lapse, it could cause some issues. There's fail safes in place, but it could cause some big ass issues. But the same with, your heavy equipment guys or something. If they have the same deal to where the day is going good, but then they get that phone call while they're doing something, really technical, and it fucking throws them off, and they can't, they just see why they're just blanked out and their mind's not on the game. There could be some consequences.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Relo's just over here taking notes, like just writing all the things wrong that he sees with
Yeah,
us.
it's like,
Like,
these fucking apprentices over here.
No,
We've got the one apprentice talking shit, and the other guy likes to jerk off in the porta potties.
no, you guys are right on. Actually,
nice.
I mean, when you notice something is off with your buddy, you need to address it.
Yeah. So how often, like, as podcast hosts, we're basically like our own therapists, self-medicated therapists.
I think it's a good therapy session, though.
No, it is.
I mean, we at least have our weekly, at least minimum weekly.
Yeah.
For over a year now, we get together.
Yeah. So we have our self-medicated therapy, but what I was getting at was, what was I getting at? I did. I've been losing my train of thought. I'm losing sleep lately.
We're good at getting off track.
So like a preacher, sometimes they go and they give a sermon, and then like a sermon on patience, and then they get stuck in traffic, or like we'll talk about this kind of stuff, and then that week we'll have something happen in our lives of like that topic we just talked about on the podcast, and discussed our ways of getting through it, and those types of things. I guess sometimes we give advice. So according to Relo, you probably ought to run pretty far from this show. But how often as a therapist do you find yourself like helping somebody or talking to somebody, and then you learn that you've got to practice what you preach?
Oh, every single day.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about like all kinds of stuff, and then I'm faced with coping and like being slow to anger. And I do a lot of like, if you're anxious, or if you're about to have a panic attack, or if you're feeling super overwhelmed, like where do you feel it in your body? Like where is this manifesting in your body? You feel it in your stomach, you feel it in your tingling in your face. Like what happens before you have an anxiety attack? Talking to like a hypothetical client. Mm-hmm. And they'll tell me, and then I'll tell them like, okay, you feel your face tingling. That's right when you need to jump into coping skills. Or they'll say, oh, I feel it in my stomach. I have butterflies in my stomach, or my stomach starts hurting. And that's that's right before I start going into a rage. That's when you start your coping skills. That's when you take a walk. That's when you do deep breathing. That's when you walk away. That's when you call your grandma. That's whatever your coping skills is. It's going to calm you down. That's when you do it. And then never fails. Every Sunday morning, I'm about to like, can I just say anything?
You say whatever you want, dude.
Every Sunday morning, I'm super duper like angry, and that's whenever I want to go lay in the middle of 14th Street. I mean, I'm always faced with just like practicing what I'm preaching. Like I feel it in my stomach. My child is like testing me, and he's refusing to get out of bed, and he's just talking back. He thinks, I mean, he doesn't do the bulldog trick, but he just thinks he's just this big, huge, hairy, grown man. And then it's like, no, you just need to get ready for church. And then it makes me so mad. And then I'm like feeling it in my body. And then I've got to like walk into those coping skills, or whatever that looks like for me. I'm tested every day. I mean, we all are. We're all human.
Yeah. You go into a porta potty at that point.
Dude,
go somewhere.
Yeah, there's nothing better when you have pent up rage and stuff, and you rub one out. Dude, it's over with. It's
You just
gone.
walk out of there and you're like, hi, everybody.
The smell of fresh shit. I feel better.
Yeah.
Oh shit, man.
But I still deal with that.
Going into porta potties, or like, what are you talking about?
Not often lately, but probably in the last 2 or 3 years, I've been able to now. You got to identify. You've got to recognize that you're getting ready to go off the fucking rails, And I've gotten to where I can recognize. Now, that doesn't mean, if you fucking kidding me, I'll let out one of those. It's just a short little pop-off valve. That's what I refer it to, like a little relief. Instead of it being all stored up and being a big deal, I just pop it off. But I've been able to, God, you're fucking getting pissed. Come on, dude. It's all good. Calm down. Breathe. And I'll get past it because I'll cut it off at the pass because I'll see it at its, first stages before it gets out of hand.
Yeah.
And then I'm over it.
Yeah. It's crazy how that works.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, when you notice it coming on, it's a choice at that point if you're going to fly off the hinges or not.
Yeah. Are you going to go down that path?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part is recognizing that stuff. Like, so a lot of people don't. Like, you see guys, especially, in the construction industry, there's a lot of anger issues, right? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of those guys just fly off the handle, and I don't think that they really give a shit the repercussions of it behind them. That's just their impression is everybody around them is being a little bitch for not being able to take their emotional ass rippings, that they're just throwing out like nobody's business. But yeah, being able to understand that stuff is so important. Like, that's something that I struggled with, especially the first several months of being married, because before I lived with somebody, I'd have those little things, but you could go hide away for a couple days, hardly talk to anybody, come out, feel great. And then whenever you live with somebody or you're married or you have other people depending on you or you're in a leadership position, you can't just disappear for a couple days, Yeah. It's you got people depending on you to be present.
You got to learn the art
That's
of de-escalation too. So a lot of times, and whether it's with me and my wife or somebody else, a lot of times you just don't fight fire with fire. You got to be the yang to the yin and hopefully just calm it down. Maybe step away, like you said, get away detach yourself from the situation, let cooler heads prevail, and things will be a lot better.
Yeah, I've learned fighting fire with a woman just doesn't work. Nobody wins in that situation.
No, I love my wife dearly, and I like to hug on her, hopefully, quite a bit. And if I fight fire with fire, it's going to be weeks before I can hug on her. If you know what I mean.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, I've tried that approach. I've tried all the approaches, I think, and probably not all of them because we've been together for several years, but there's probably some I haven't tried yet that would fail horribly. But
hugging on her?
No, not hugging on her, but the other approaches. I've tried the. Sometimes I joke with her, I'm going to start reacting the way you react to me, whenever I do stuff. Cause you know me, dude, I'm like an old huffy bicycle, man. I got one speed. I'm as consistent and, reliable as can be. One speed, always just cruising down the road. It ain't a fast speed, but just one gear going down the road. You know what I'm saying?
Little engine that could.
Just always going. Exactly. You see a homeless guy with a Huffy bicycle, 20 years old, he ain't even ever changed the tires on that sumbitch. You know what I'm saying? It's going 5 miles an hour down Highway 1, but that's all right, man. That's me,
Are you riding down that porous asphalt that y'all put down?
Yeah. Yeah. Not a care in the world. I'm always chill, chill. That's why I don't smoke weed, man, because I'm already chill. I don't need to chill more. And so every now and then, whenever people are not chill around me, it might make me feel some type of way. And I've learned that if you can dig in and you can fight right back and go from being a huffy bicycle to an out of control little race car, but or you can just keep being chill, let that run its course, just move on.
I feel bad for those weak little men that eat it from, like a nagging wife.
Well, that doesn't work.
Yeah, but listen, they eat it, right? And it's all built up. And then when they walk away from the situation, the first person they come across, they're going to get it.
Oh, yeah. Well, dude, that's something I always tell people in the construction industry is hey, those old men that keep ripping your ass? Yeah, it's because their wife fucking hates them. Yes. They just go home, they just take it and eat it. And then they haven't been laid in 6 years. Yeah. And then they just come to work and they will just chew you up and spit you out.
Can you guys stop saying eat it? It's kind of making me laugh a little bit.
No laughing on the show. It's a very serious topic.
Eat it.
Eat it. Dude, you're going through sticks of gum over there like freaking Camel Slims or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of this pineapple taste. Kind of making me sick a little bit.
James will call you out on your shit, man. Trust me.
You guys call me out on mine. Don't you?
Ain't nothing
come
gonna
at
get
me.
past him.
Would you like some gum?
No, I'm all right. Thank you, though.
Okay.
I appreciate that. So polite.
I'm good, but I did have a piece of gum before I came in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is the first time someone has called me polite.
Very polite.
I'm impressed.
You know, I used to have a gum addiction, dude. I used to stay chewing gum. Oh, yeah, dude. I'd go through like a pack a day, 5, Cobalt 5.
Why do they call it gum? Because you actually use your teeth. You actually chew it.
I don't know.
They should call it chews or something instead of gum.
Marketing. I don't know. Maybe because it's made with gums. Like
Gumball tree?
xanthan gum. I don't know.
Huh.
Not a gum.
I feel like
I don't
an
know,
idiot.
man. I'm not a gum scientist. Well, so Relo, I mean, do you mainly deal with kids or do you deal with
I had
all
to Google
ages?
that. Sorry.
Do what?
I had to
Gum.
Google why is gum called gum.
You did? What was
Did
it?
you find the answer?
It's something Greek. I mean, I couldn't read.
Damn, dude. I was hoping to be something like is invented by Edward Gumhand or something. You know? So do you deal with just kids or do you deal with all ages?
So currently, I'm just a children's therapist for high school. I'm the assigned therapist from our local community mental health center, which is Grand Mental Health right now in Kay County. So I'm the assigned therapist at Ponca City High School. I have experience with all ages though, and I actually really enjoyed working with adults. I mean, the brains are fully developed. You're less creative. They're there for a purpose. They want to do the work, and the work gets done. So their brains are fully developed to where like they understand the content and the curriculum and what's going to happen. When you're working with a kindergartner or even a 10th grader, some things just are not clicking. Developmental. I mean, and some of the techniques just don't hit the way that they're designed to hit. So you have to be creative with kind of restructuring that curriculum or whatever it is you're doing so that it fits that teen or kindergartner. Mm-hmm. No matter what, the techniques are still effective. You just have to kind of restructure them a little bit.
So do you find that like the mental health among kids is getting better, worse, staying the same?
I was working at the high school. I was one of the 4 high school counselors there for like several years. And what I noticed was everyone diagnosed themselves with anxiety disorder.
South Park did an episode about that.
It's very accurate. Everyone has a self-diagnosis of anxiety. Everybody wants a 504 plan or something because they're just anxious. And so we can laugh about it, but there's something to that. Maybe you don't have clinical anxiety. Maybe something's just making you anxious. And so to answer your question, yeah, I think there's a lot of the mental health issue has either we're just now noticing it because the world slowed down for a whole year and a half. And so we're able to just focus on it, or maybe it's actually on the rise, you know? Either way, kids are expressing their anxieties and depressions.
Do you think that they are anxious or they are depressed, or do you think that this is a real question I have? This is going to sound it's going to sound like I'm making fun of the whole mental health thing, but this is a legit question I have. Do you think that there's actually more anxiety and depression, or do you think that now that like with things like social media and stuff like that, it's almost like trendy and cool to come out and say, I'm depressed, I'm anxious, like that gets me attention if I say I'm anxious, or it gets me out of things that maybe like I can use it as a crutch or as an excuse if I say I'm depressed or I'm anxious. Like, do you think that there's some of that going on?
There's a possibility that kids are just wanting that extra attention, or it's the trendy thing to do.
Yeah.
Just as the professional, though, it's my job to just dig deeper and help them realize, like, is this something that you're doing just for the attention, or is there an actual issue? And if you're just doing this for attention, that in itself is an issue. So let's explore that. Why are you wanting this extra attention? What's going on? Yeah. So I can't give you a clear answer. Either way, either you're a child who's depressed and anxious or you want to do it for attention. Either way, I see that as an issue that should be explored.
Yeah, like you got to take it serious no matter what you're doing. So then that kind of also similar question, like I'm all about talking about mental health, like being an advocate for it, especially in the trades and stuff like that. But sometimes I wonder if talking about it more almost makes it worse. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I almost wonder if it starts making people think in their minds like, oh, well, now I feel da-da-da. I must have mental issues. Like, whereas instead of, before it was just like, I'm going through a rough patch, whatever, like I'll get through this. But now it's like, do people feel, nope, I just have mental issues. I'm fucked up. Like, because we talk about it more and we talk about, like, I feel like it's trendy, again, to talk about mental health and say, mental health is so great. Mental health in the trades, mental health is awesome. We need to talk about it. We need to spread the word. And I agree that we do, but so many people just stop right there. It's just spreading awareness. But what do you do after you spread the awareness? How do you actually make sure that there's impact of people getting better?
Okay. So I think your first question was, is it trendy? Was that like the first point?
Kind of like is talking about it more,
Making it worse?
In some sense, is it making it worse? Not all sense. I know that you have to talk about it, but in some sense, is it making it? I know more people are getting help and stuff like that, but are more people actually like getting help because they truly need help, or are they getting help because they've almost been psyched into their mind to think that they're screwed up because it's just so prevalent and so talked about that, hey, it's okay. It's all right to not be all right. And people just feel like they're not all right.
I think
am I making sense?
Yes,
you're making sense.
But I think to go off on that is, if you're at a point, let's say that James and Casey in this podcast are beating the damn drum over and over about mental health and, you need it. If something cues you to say, fuck, man, and you might not ever seen it or thought it, but maybe something goes, you know what? I listened to their podcast for the umpteenth time, and dude, I do have something that's been kind of lurking. If you go and actually address that, whatever that thing's been lurking, because we've been beating the drum and it's been over and over again, dude, maybe that's going to actually prevent something from happening further down the line. So what I'm getting at is, if you're at a stage to where you maybe go get help that you probably never would have gotten help before, dude, at least you're getting help. At least you're addressing something that you might not have ever addressed or took care of, is all I'm getting at.
Yeah. And the only thing I'm getting at is like, okay, and I don't know how else to put this, but like, let's say like pride stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of
like pride fighting championship
kids out there that are,
because they were the ones that
out.
went up against the UFC, and they were big in Japan.
You mean like June Pride? Just kidding.
I do. No. I mean, like, there's a lot of
it was at the
that's literally
Tokyo
what
Dome,
I mean is like,
and they could sit like 100,000 people in there. And anytime you watch the Japanese fans, whenever like they were fighting, they were real proper. That they would just clap. They'd never get out of their seats. If somebody got knocked out or their arm broke, they'd just sit there and clap like this.
Nice.
You're talking about pride fighting, right?
No, not quite. But I mean, like, think about. I don't feel bad at saying this on this podcast because I know that a lot of people will probably agree with me, but think about how much like a lot of the LGBT stuff is forced upon people. And now you have so many people coming out saying, man, I think I'm gay. Because that's so prevalent, because they want a place to belong. They want a place to feel accepted. And that's being thrown at them as, oh, well, you're different. You might be this. And sometimes I just wonder if the mental health thing, talking about it so much and making it so prevalent. I agree that it's a great thing for people to look at and say, this is a resource, but sometimes does that turn into people truly like feeling that they have mental health issues because they're being told so much, hey, it's okay to not be all right, Casey?
I think you're talking more about like identity.
Yes.
People are wanting to cling on.
Are they attaching their identity to this?
Exactly.
Yes.
That's a big issue. That is a big issue. And I mean, I can't say like if they're just want to hop on just hop on the bandwagon or not. We just need to provide a safe space like this. You guys are safe for each other. You talk about things, you pour your heart out. this is a safe space, and maybe you don't need therapy. Maybe you just need friendship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or just a podcast.
Or a podcast. But no, I definitely hear, you know, what you're saying. And maybe sometimes it is trendy for some people. I can't say definitively if it is or not. I don't think anybody can. But then there is a lot of identity issues like what you're talking about with LGBT stuff. I mean, there are a lot of students and a lot of adults who are struggling with their identity and they're wanting to cling to something. And then you're right. There's a lot of identity issues. People would like to attach to something, you know, and I wish I could blame that on, you know, being isolated for 2 years or however long it was. But it's just, that's just the trajectory of the direction of where things are going.
Well, and that's what I'm asking. Like you don't have to say anything controversial that we have to cut out or anything like that. Like that's truly kind of what my question is so many people want to cling to a community. I see it on social media all the time, dude. Like there's people that listen to this podcast that like we are the highlight of their week. And that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
And
it's a good podcast.
And that's like we are their community. We don't know them. We don't know them from Adam. We've never seen them. Some of them we've never even talked to them. We've never even DM'd them. They've just maybe sent us a message or something. Or, you know, there's hundreds of people that we get that you go like, yeah, I literally don't know you, but I know that you listen every week. And that's great. That's awesome. And I appreciate that. But like their identity, like they don't have much of an identity because they don't have a community around them. Like, right? Or sometimes you see a lot of people on social media, like just say in the construction space, like them being an equipment operator is their whole identity. I mean, sure, that's what they do for a job. That's what they do for a living, but that's their whole identity. My wife and I were talking about this the other day. Like you still see people our age. We graduated college 4 years ago and we still know people that like in their bio on Instagram, it says OSU 2020. And they still post pictures from college all the time. And it's like, that's their identity. Like that's where it stopped. So that's a whole other topic, I guess, but it still just all ties in. Like, are there like, that's just one thing I've been wondering lately is like, does the mental health stuff, like does talking about it, does advocating for it, like, are we doing good? I think so. And I don't want to stop talking about it.
I think we are because we've been given scenarios and options on certain things that we've legitimately dealt with in our personal lives on how we've addressed them in routes to go.
Yeah.
We're not telling, well, the Dirty and Driven podcast told me to focus. No, we're just giving examples.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of our examples are pretty damn good.
Here's the thing. Nobody was built or made to do life alone. We're all made for community. That sounds very cliche and very just like,
Yeah.
but we're all made for community. And a lot of times, people were indoctrinated to just pull up your bootstraps and just deal with it. So we're suffering. We've been conditioned to suffer alone. And so this whole like mental health thing, I think is just putting a spotlight on what's just already there. Yeah. And it's making people more comfortable with actually being real with what they're dealing with. So I don't think they're just hopping on a bandwagon necessarily, but they see you guys comfortable enough to be transparent. And then, well, if they can do it, I can talk about it too, you know? Yeah. And then on the other side of things, absolutely. And, you know, some people just want to, you know, hop on something.
Yeah.
But that's what it's all about, actually. You know, evidence shows that after someone has completed suicide, it's important to talk about it. You know, maybe back in the 1900s, it was swept under the rug. 1990s, swept under the rug. You really didn't talk about it. But evidence has shown, like, the more you talk about it, you know, the less likely someone else is going to follow suit. You've got to continue to lift that stigma and normalize these conversations. Otherwise, we are going to continue to suffer alone. And that is what actually leads to mental illness. It's a difference between a mental health issue, like physically just having a cold that you left untreated turning into pneumonia, or like a mental health issue where it's just like you're having a mental health struggle, but now this is an illness. Yeah. So you've got to address it as soon as you feel something coming on.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a professional, but sometimes it's just taking a conversation with a safe person.
And what is a safe person?
A safe person is, well, I'll tell you, when I was doing my first master's, I did a lot of research. And it's known research, but it was new to me. It's not anything I discovered. I started doing research on the ACE studies. Have you guys heard about that? It's adverse childhood experiences. And these medical professionals, they started asking health questions like, have you ever experienced a divorce as a child? Have you ever been hit or abused? And just different things. It's about about 10 questions. And what the research showed was people who have experienced at least 4 out of the 10 questions had a more than 50% likelihood of experiencing physical ailments, specifically like with their lungs, mental illnesses, personality issues, even like specifically life-threatening health conditions, just based off of traumatic experiences that were left unprocessed.
Yeah.
And so a safe person and a safe space, it doesn't have to be a mental health professional. It doesn't have to be like your favorite teacher. It could just be a positive role model, and it can be someone that you trust talking to who's not going to spill all the beans to whoever walks through the door. And that's what it's all about. That's the foundation. That's the building blocks for building resilience. If you come across the at-risk youth or at-risk peer or whatever that you feel like they're going to not do so good later on in life, just be that safe person for them. You don't have to process. You don't even have to try. Just validate their feelings. And what that looks like is, wow, that sounds really tough. That just makes them feel heard. Like, wow, somebody acknowledged that was a tough experience.
Yeah.
That's validating feelings, and that sets the tone for rapport to be built, and that sets the foundation for them to actually have a space to actually come to and feel safe to express these things, these hard things that we're talking about, that would normally be swept under the rug, but now they have a place to just kind of pour out, and they don't feel alone. And they're like, oh, well, James and Casey, they are, oh, well, shit, they're anxious too. Well, hey, listen, this is what messed me up today. And it doesn't have to be anything deep. It's just being kind, being a genuine person. That's it.
I think that it's so interesting too that men have such a higher suicide rate than women, because I feel like women are so much better about like
expression.
Expression. Guys don't want to complain. And if they do, everybody's the smartest guy in the world. You know what I mean? Every guy in the world is the smartest guy in the world. And so, although I don't want to sit around and have a fucking vent session about my feelings like girls do, but sometimes I do just want to vent and complain and talk and just somebody listen to me. My wife's great at that. And then like she'll vent and complain and talk. And then sometimes she does it to your girlfriends, right? And it's just like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then that's it. And it ends there. And then sometimes she does it, to me. And what is one of the biggest complaints women always have about complaining to their husbands? Y'all know what I'm talking about.
If they don't listen?
You don't listen?
No.
No, a lot of times it's, don't try to fix the problems. I just want to complain.
Just listen to me.
Yeah. Just say that sucks. Just tell me that's like you just said, validate the issue, right? A lot of times like, because I'm a guy that like if I have holes in my life in my game, I want to fix them and I want to move on. Like, complaining ain't getting me anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But sometimes people come to me and it's like, you try to offer advice or whatever, and it's actually really eye-opening for you to say that, like, if you're going to somebody for therapy, I mean, a therapist isn't just somebody with a degree that works in an office. I mean, a therapist is a boss. It's a friend. It's a coworker. It's your bartender. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's any of those things can act as somebody's therapist. And if they're offering you advice and this and that, well, dude, that's something I do a lot. I don't necessarily say, well, you need to do this, but I'll say, well, here's what's worked for me. And sometimes people are open to listen to that. And if they are, that's great. And I've offered that a lot. We get guys who listen to the show who hit us up whenever we talk about mental health. And I'll say, here's what's worked for me. Mm-hmm. And they'll say, all right, I'm going to try that. And then, they'll leave a message back weeks later and say, dude, I've been doing that. It's worked great. That's awesome. A lot of people are just having a bad day and they just want to talk about it. And that's it. And they just want to be validated that, hey, yeah, what I'm going through sucks and I'm not crazy.
Yep.
And that's That's really interesting that you say that.
It's the truth.
Yeah. So, moral of the story of this episode, guys, is don't jerk off in a porta potty.
But I thought about that earlier.
Without talking to your friends about it afterwards.
Yeah. Talk to your friends. Do you talk to your friends first or after? Or maybe it depends if it's a reoccurring problem. It's like one off or every now and then. I guess that's probably okay, just depending on what's going on. But I mean, I guess if it's a reoccurring daily issue, you probably should seek some help.
But you had talked about that jerking off in the porta potty earlier. Then right after that, you followed that up with the suicide rate is high in construction, right? Blue collar, right?
Oh, shit. So you think we should be jerking off in porta potties more?
So that's where I was going. Was you don't know if this guy had a big blowout argument with his wife, shit's going down bad at the house. Maybe he's going to work with pent up anger, and he's not getting any at home. And that's his only spot to get rid of, all of that anger. And he's not going to suicide himself because all the stress is gone.
Yeah, because he's watching Lisa Ann in the porta potty.
So that's his safe space.
Yeah, just go smoke a cigarette and jerk off in the porta potty.
Yeah,
and maybe the cigarette actually helps mask the smell a little bit.
But a safe space can be anywhere. And if that is a porta potty with, stalagmites and stalactites, whichever ones come up from the ground, and the tights, it is what it is.
I don't know what you're talking. That smell ain't safe. Damn it.
It's wild, dude. Well, man, we're getting close to the end here. I know I got to get rolling in a sec. We always ask all our guests, what is the dirtiest job you've ever had to do?
Well, I was a stripper once.
No, okay, wait, what?
I'm just kidding.
I was like,
no. Just as a kid, I worked at a bunch of fast food places. That's really all I can say. Like Popeyes, McDonald's. I mean, I was a dispatcher for a trucking company once, and that was actually really
Wait, for real?
a fun job.
Why have you never told me that?
It was the craziest thing. There was this place in Ponca called Cascade Integrated, and I was a dispatcher for all these all these truckers, and I was in charge of like sending them to like all these places around Oklahoma, and they'd all get lost. I don't know why. Thanks to me, but I learned my job, and that was probably like not like the nastiest job I've done, but it was the most realest job because they didn't give a shit about like putting on a show, or they're just real life truckers trying to get out there, get their money, get the job done, and then they have me sending them to Medford instead of like Lawton or somewhere,
Oh shit!
Well, you said everything was in Oklahoma. You had sent them to Miami, Florida, instead of Miami, Oklahoma.
Yeah,
exactly.
you said Miami, not Miami. Even though it's spelled the same.
Yeah, they're going to
You're going to Orlando. They're like, all right, am I going to Disney World? And he's like, what? No, Orlando.
Orlando's down there, north of Edmond.
That was one of my favorite jobs. Though.
Yeah, that's wild, dude.
Crazy.
But I mean, like, what? But any instance where you've ever had to like do something, you just got like ungodly filthy? Like any like instance? No.
No, I mean like I battered chicken. I changed diapers before. Like, I don't know.
Battering chicken and changing diapers.
I've done a bunch of different things.
Dude, put that
As
on a t-shirt.
Younger.
Battered chicken and changing diapers.
You ever pooped your pants?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we all have.
Oh yeah.
We all have.
Have you ever jumped and dumped?
What?
No.
What's a jump and dump?
I'm not going to imagine it.
Wow. Okay, so but like you're fancy. You probably have a porta potty. So we used to have a private. We used to have a dock. Our family used to have a dock, and somebody that I was pretty, close to, told my son about jump and dump, and we were like, "What the hell is a jump and dump?" And he said, "Well, you jump off the dock and you take a shit in midair." Listen, so we were able to use our neighbor's porta potty. Well, she ended up locking it up for some weird reason, whatever. My son at the time was like 8. And so he's like, oh, my this person told me about jumping and dumping. And so before I could even stop him from doing it, he's like running down the runway and he's like jumping, his ass is hanging out. The little pink thing is just, and he's running with his little sunburnt self. And he's like jumping, and in midair, this turd like flies up and like splats on the back of his back. And like, he just like goes into the water, bloop. And then like, he like pops up and he's like dog paddling. He's dog paddling. I help him up, and the damn turd is like stuck to the middle of his back. And I wanted to be mad so
No,
bad.
that's amazing.
But I was cracking up.
Dude, I don't think I could push it out midair like that.
Oh,
That's a 1 in a million trick.
Dude, yeah, that's a tough one to get done.
If that magician
was
would have
talent.
done that off the stage,
he would have won it, huh?
yeah, but he'd have to stick on his back though. That's the kicker.
That's how Harry Houdini died, as he was trying to attempt to jump and jump. That's the trick. You jump in midair, and the crowd sees it come out, and then they see it disappear. But actually, what it is, it's stuck to your back, and you have to hide it.
And it'd have to be such a perfect consistency.
Wow, dude.
He has pretty solid poop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
even
awesome.
still.
Wow.
I'm impressed.
The jump and dump. That's a pretty dirty one right there.
Yeah, I mean, the catfish really enjoyed that, I'm sure.
Was that your son who did that?
Yep, my son.
Yeah, see.
Most perfect child in the world.
Victoria and I keep
years old.
talking about, when are we going to have kids and stuff. And the more that people tell me stories like this, the more I'm like, wow, maybe I can wait. I used to be so excited to have kids. And now, like, the more I hear, like, of people's kids' stories, the more I go, huh.
There's never a bad time to start popping kids out.
Nope.
Just do it.
Never a bad time or never a good time?
Never a bad time.
Okay.
Just do it.
Well, the sooner I get kids, I'm going to run for governor after we get kids out of the house. So once we get kids start turning 18, that's whenever I'm going to run for governor. So
Fancy.
So I'm probably 20 years out, 19 to 20 years out, depending on how many kids we have.
I'll vote for you.
Thank you. As long as we still have a democratic system by then. I guess that's the part you got to think about. But anyways, well, man, this was a fun conversation. It was started out all over the place, but man, I think that we really got some good value out there. Listeners, I hope you guys liked it. We haven't done too well of asking for anything lately, so I just want to say, remember, we do this for free. So give us a 5-star review. That's a free way you can support us. Give us a 5-star review. Share the show. If you know other people that care about the topic of mental health, share this with them. If you know people that are struggling with porta potty jerking off addiction, share this with them. I know that there's a lot of you out there because I was on the Sweat and Grind podcast and they told me that is something that a lot of people in this industry do.
Oh my God.
So, there's market research out there on that. So share this with those people. Share this on your social media, to your story, text it to your friends. We'd appreciate it. If you liked it, man, drop a tip in the tip jar too. Like, that really means a lot to us. It lets us know we're doing a good job. It lets us know that you actually care enough to support us and help grow the mission. All that money goes to is just better equipment, better production on the podcast, and just getting you a better product out there and more merch and stuff like that. You can buy merch. That's another way you can support us if you don't want to just give us money. So we got hats, we got shirts. Check them out on our website, dirtyandriven.com. And if you don't follow us, check us out at Dirty and Driven on all major social platforms other than MySpace and Truth Social. Casey, you got any final thoughts?
Yep. Shout out to everybody who powered through the beginning of the podcast and hung out till the end.
Yeah. If you made it this far, thank you guys. Relo, you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, be there for your friends. Yep.
Well, guys, my final thought is that the only way that you're ever going to get better and conquer this mental health is if you quit being soft and you go out and do something hard today.
Well, by God.